Sheldon, thanks for coming in.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Well, perhaps let's just start with which financial services groups we are talking about here that the Standard hopes to get more transparency from. I would imagine it's retirement annuity funds, etc.
Yes, it's the entire retirement savings industry that all the members of ASISA actually participate in this disclosure standard, and they're trying to disclose their fees transparently.
And I mean, it's kind of the stuff we knew that was there already. I mean, some of the stuff, admin fees, reporting fees, share trading costs, for example, we knew they were there, but the problem is we often didn't know where they were located, and that's probably the issue here.
Yes, you were charged these fees in a variety of layers in the retirement industry, and what the Standard is trying to do is to make a standard disclosure list that will help consumers compare the costs that they're being charged. So all the costs are now going to be in one place instead of in the layers, in the asset managers, in the actual administrators, and with the consumer being left bewildered about where are my costs actually incurred.
Because, I mean, traditionally what would happen is that you would approach this sort of an investment and not realize, of course, that when you add up all the administrative fees, it's something a little different to what you had expected. But you were saying this time the location, the visibility of that could be there. But let's be honest, it's not legally binding. So, you know, are they compelled to do this or not, or is it a matter of principle?
So it is a matter of principle.
Yep.
The financial services industry is a moral industry. We try and strive to be the pinnacle of looking after people's funds. We have to be client-centric, and that is very much a standard that the FSCA is delivering. And ASISA is just trying to take that a step further to make consumers aware of their costs so they can take informed decisions about where they want to invest their funds. Because consumers are happy to pay for value that they perceive.
From a visibility perspective, what would be different if this practice is followed to the bone?
It's the ability to compare like for like in terms of in the retirement industry. At the moment, people have different fees, different classifications in their disclosures, whereas now it's going to be standard disclosure, so you'll be able to compare any service provider to each other.
A couple of years ago, we had an entire up-in-arms public over banking fees, for example, because, and there was a drag. I know the finance minister at one stage got involved, and the industry itself was sort of boiling over the issue. There was a bit of a lagging resolution to that, and it just took such a long time to actually get it resolved. We've got the Standard now. Do you still see there barriers to actually getting full exposure, full transparency, as we struggle to get in the banking sector?
I do foresee that. It will take time. It has impacts in the financial services industry. As more disclosure is met, it changes to product structures. The complexity and convolution that is currently in products would have to be removed. And that action does take time, particularly in the larger financial services groups that have developed their processes and their systems and also their actual budgeting in accordance with what they're currently charging.
Some people watching this would ask, well, you know, after we get the standardization done and we've got a few of these firms following it, does it necessarily mean that my fees would be lower? And I would imagine that's not the case. It would just be, it might be a bit clearer than before.
So it's not necessarily the case that it would be lower. It may have that impact, as it did in the banking industry. However, people, as I said before, they're willing to pay for value they perceive and they're told about. So the clarity of it would at least enable the consumer to make an informed decision about, yes, I'm actually happy to pay these fees because I'm getting these benefits or this value out of the transaction. Instead of, at the moment, they're not really sure, am I getting the value?
All right, Sheldon, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much indeed for coming in. That was Fed Group Chief Financial Officer Sheldon Fredrickson talking to us there about hidden costs when it comes to these investments.